that our poor client's sitting here with a denied claim thinking she's getting nothing.
If you find the owner, that's the responsible party. That's what the law says.
It's a complete tactic, and it makes me so angry.
Minding her own business and gets hit by a speeding truck.
Time goes on, she's in the hospital, she doesn't speak English, she's away from her family.
We said, hey, there's damages here. This is something that's worth investigating.
And there was no insurance coverage on this case, and in some cases the law kind of stacked up against us.
There's no amount of money that will ever make this sweet little woman whole.
The first time anybody ever asked her what happened was when we asked her.
The client really felt heard and valued and knew that what happened to her was not okay.
If you've watched any of our videos, you've seen me talk about the way defense attorneys deny, delay, and devalue injury claims. Well, in today's Carolina Justice Report, we're going to talk about 3 ways this year, against all odds, we overcame these denied claims for our clients.
Welcome back. You saw Justin Lovely there just a second ago. He was really pumped about this this episode, so we had to give him the floor for the intro there.
Fired up. I'm still going.
So, of course, you guys know them already. Attorney Justin Lovely, Sarah Austin, and Amy Lawrence are joining us today. I'm excited about this topic because it's kind of like 3 big wins for us this year that normally maybe wouldn't have won, huh?
Yeah, really overcome the odds.
Yeah. So we've got 3 of these. So the first one we'll talk about is this bicyclist who was hit by a truck pulling a trailer, right?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about what happened here.
So in this case, we had a client who reached out to us and was found at fault. Okay. So when we at intake, they're telling us they're at fault. That's always a red flag because that's probably going to be a tough case.
Yeah.
Most attorneys probably wouldn't even sign the case going off of that. But he was hurt pretty good, pretty bad. And so I shouldn't say pretty good. He was hurt pretty bad.
Very bad.
We said, hey, there's damages here. This is something that's worth investigating.
Yeah.
And that's how we handle cases in our office. So
I don't even know how he could be listed at fault if he was the one hit.
you'd be surprised.
Yep, the police come out and do an investigation. And this is what we're fighting all the time.
We're going to use the word investigation very loosely.
Loosely. And that's when this client, when he called, said that, there's a video of it. I know that there's a video of it at the campground, and the police watched it. And so for us, at least for me, I'm like, well, even if you're marked at fault, I want to see the video. I want to see what actually happened.
Right.
And so that was a big piece of evidence, but we had to fight to get the video, right? They don't just want to turn it over. The police don't want to turn it over, and you don't get body cams. They'll only give you dash cams. And so it was a kind of a bit of a struggle until we finally got this video. But what it showed was our client on his bicycle. And then a truck pulling a camper tries to pass him, and the truck passes him, but the truck driver doesn't realize, I guess, how wide his camper is, and the camper hits our client and really injures him on his bike.
Yikes. We see this a lot of times. We see it all the time, actually, with bicyclists, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, right? Mm-hmm. We see police officers time and time again marking these people at fault, even when they're not. As a matter of fact, some of these officers will call me now and they'll say, Amy, what do you think? I'm going to give you this scenario. And then sometimes they'll just be like running scenarios and they just want a lawyer's opinion. It has nothing to do with a case that's actually happened in front of them. They're like, okay, so bike is on on the sidewalk going one way, and then a man just pulls out of a parking lot and hits him on the sidewalk. Well, you still have a duty to yield. That car pulling out. So the bicyclist is not at fault. The car pulling out is at fault. And when I explain it to them, it's like, oh yeah, they're open to discussing it, which I think is really awesome because they realize they're getting it wrong so often.
Well, here's what happens, right? He's arriving. The ambulance has already got this dude gone to Grand Strand or gone to the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. He's sitting there hearing one side of the story, right? And he may even have wrote, I watched a video, and so that's what our client thinks. Mm-hmm. And so when we're hearing that, we're like, man, this might not be a good case. Mm-hmm. But we realize, no, he was just gone. He never talked to him. He never talked to him when he was in the hospital. He got one side of the story, marked that dude at fault, and moved on. And so that's the report we get. And most lawyers wouldn't even assign that case. And a lot of clients will call, and if they hear that, the lawyer, they get discouraged, right?
Right.
And so I'm proud of Sarah and I'm proud of our team. We dug in, man, and we where's this video? We got to find this video. The minute we saw the video, Sarah goes, watch this video. I watched it. Get a demand out now. We sent the man, got paid, client's happy, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And that's a case that, people wouldn't have signed up. if they don't have the local knowledge and know how to work these local,
Yeah.
what's going on locally here in Myrtle Beach, and there would have been no recovery for the client. So we're good. We working through our process, and
Well, this is a
got
classic
some
case
good-
where you guys kind of advocated for this
Absolutely.
person because
Absolutely.
he was wrongly cited at fault. So I'm glad that you guys really dug in and investigated it to say, no, you were right. So
Yeah, and plus I think it just, like Justin talked about, the local knowledge. Like, I know this campground. I've been in there. I've seen the roads and the narrowness and all of these things. And so that really frames the way that I can shape the case, because I know the area and I know the traffic in that area. You talk about motorcyclists, we talk about bike week. These insurance adjusters are often different
Columbia,
states
Charleston,
denying
Georgia.
claims for people when they have no idea how it, when it's bike week in Merle's Inlet, it's a completely different
yeah.
town than anywhere else.
There's
And different
barriers
traffic,
set
and there's
up,
people walking in the
patterns.
street all the time. And so
Yeah.
just having that local knowledge of how things work around here, I think really helps our clients in the
Yeah.
long run.
We've got local investigators dialed in, tenacious. When they meet with us, we give them task them a new case. We say, we got to get this video, canvass the area, get all the surveillance.
And
Are there any city cameras?
And talk to all the witnesses, because there are
Talk to
some
them.
really great witnesses, but as we know, in the summertime in Myrtle Beach, those people don't live here either. And so getting on it when it just happens, while they're still in town, when we can talk to them and get their statement, makes a big difference
Was
too.
it something that you got quickly?
Absolutely. And that local, being very local, having the local investigators, knowing where we're at, knowing where these accidents are happening, knowing how the officers who are overworked are putting people at fault,
Yeah.
putting all that together gives us that local advantage to get the stuff for the client that we need.
Gives us that edge.
What
yeah.
were the injuries for the client? Is he okay now?
He's okay
or-
now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's making a pretty good recovery, but he went through it and had multiple surgeries, and so I'm happy to see him get back to work, and hopefully this will help him get there.
Yeah. How long did it take us to kind of wrap up this case?
The accident happened in June. And
Oh, wow.
So we're in October.
Wow.
So, yeah, pretty quick.
That is
pretty quick
very
turnaround.
Pretty quick. It could happen a lot quicker if we would have
Got the video.
got the video a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But
But every case is not like that.
Sure.
Most cases takes a
Everybody's
long time.
different.
Every case is different. There's our disclaimer. But it was a big win, and
Yeah.
so we're happy. And the client's happy. So.
Yeah, I'm proud of everybody. So let's move on to our second big win. Dog bite on the face, which already sounds absolutely terrible. What happened with this case?
So this was a case where we had a client who was on a commercial property at a festival. She gets bit, and normally those cases those cases are strict liability. But we had a scenario where we had a dog owner, we had somebody else who we thought could have been the dog owner, and then we had a scenario where they were on commercial property. So we had a commercial insurance policy at play. And of course, here's what happens. One starts pointing fingers. This one starts pointing blame. This one doesn't own the dog. This guy was borrowing the dog. And then our poor client's sitting here with a denied claim thinking she's getting nothing, but she's got half her face ripped off. A nightmare scenario.
It was
right.
an awful, awful injury.
When life gets ugly, justice is